And then also, I know you have a passion like me as well to like help other people be the best versions of themselves. So I just wanted to know where that passion came from.
Because because I almost gave up on on trying to realize the best version of myself, and like I didn't, and I'm really glad that I didn't. You know what I mean? Like when you come to that crossroads where, I mean, a lot of people don't even come to the crossroads. I truly believe most people just live their life on a conveyor belt, and then they end up somewhere that they didn't really plan on ending up, but it's because they never stopped to like ask themselves, like, is this the direction that I'm trying to head in, or am I just doing what either, am I just operating on autopilot? Am I trying to meet my parents' expectations or society's expectations? Am I following the lead of my friends? Like, and then they just end up, and then it's everybody else's fault except for their own. And like one day I had this realization that like you could really do or be anything or anybody that you want as long as you're willing to sacrifice and work for it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um and like and then not only that, but like I've been in some low places, like, and it
Mm-hmm.
was like the lowest place in my life when I realized like, no, this ain't nobody else's fault. I used to blame it on like my parents and my upbringing and like where I come from and like
Mm-hmm.
things that have happened to me. And I've had a lot of people that I've been really close with, like my brother, like die. And I've had bad things happen in my life, and
Mm-hmm.
as a young man, I'd be like, oh man, poor me, like
Mm-hmm.
all this stuff, like I was at a disadvantage, and I never gave a fair shake, and I'm just gonna be a statistic anyway, right? I'm like, no, no, like it's not anybody's fault but yours. Like you make decisions, and all your decisions have consequences, right? And so it was those two things, which is like, one, like if you have the potential to do it or be it, you can, but you got to be willing to sacrifice and work for it. And two, like your life is your fault. Like your life is your fault. If you look around and you don't like the way your life looks, well, that's your fault. If you look around and you love the way that it looks, it's your fault. Like there is um an element of personal accountability that I think plays a huge role. And so even more so than trying to inspire people to be the best versions of themselves, I really like to try to inspire people to just take ownership of their life, because once you take ownership of like how you've gotten to this point, like whether you love your life or you hate your life, when you say, man, this is all my fault, like only at that point is it possible for you to take ownership of like where your life is going. Like ever since I came to that realization, my whole life has changed. And it's so crazy how fast it changed. Like I was literally in prison 5 years ago. Like 5 years ago. I've built multiple six-figure businesses. I've been a junior executive at $100 million company. I own a company right now. I have a podcast that literally tens of thousands of people listen to all the time. And 5 years ago, I was in prison. Like it's crazy. Like it can
Mm-hmm.
happen so fast. And I see people who get down on themselves, and they get upset, like they got a divorce, or like maybe they like lost custody of a kid, or sometimes it's not even that bad. Like sometimes it's like they got fired from their job, or they dropped out of college or something, right? And they
Mm-hmm.
like wear that. They wear that for the rest of their life.
Mm-hmm.
Man, I'm a failure. I'm a deadbeat, or they were addicted to drugs, or they drank too much, or whatever,
Mm-hmm.
right? So like people will wear that. Well, I like rejected that. And when I came home from prison, it was crazy. Like I came home from prison, I built my first business. I had a huge community like the one that, that you're a part of at Omen, right? I owned a gym. It was a very similar community. And when I was home for a year before I told anybody that I had been to prison. When I finally told them, they literally didn't even believe me. They were like, nah, it wasn't you. Like, stop joking, like, cause they just, that version of me that went to prison, it literally didn't even exist to these people because they never met that person, right? So like to everybody that's listening, and to the people who I try to inspire to like be the best versions of themselves, it's like the only thing holding you back in life is you. It's like that narrative that you're telling yourself about who you are, but it's
Mm-hmm.
not who you are, it's who you were. And as long as you hang on to who you were, you're going to keep wearing that. But as soon as you be like, no, like I'm going to show up differently today, I'm going to be somebody completely new. Think about this: every single person that you meet today, the like the version of you that you chose to show up as today, that's the only version of you that literally even exists to them. That old version of you is gone. The version of you that dropped out of college or was addicted to drugs or lost custody of your kids or got a divorce or whatever that shame is that you're wearing, right? That version of you doesn't exist in their world. So it's so crazy how one new interaction at a time, you can literally recreate the like your whole legacy, but also the way that the world perceives you. Does that make sense?
Yeah, so you had to engineer your mind to think
Okay,
a different
okay, I see
way.
what you did there. I see what you did there. You had to engineer it. I don't know.
You know what I mean?
Listen,
Like
I ain't that smart.
you had to rewire your
Yeah,
mind to be better, essentially. Yeah.
100%.
Mhm.
But also to like wear a different identity.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? Like
Mhm.
you really do. You have to rewire your brain and just disown that person that you were
Mhm.
and convince yourself. Like there's an element, I mean, I'm kind of crazy, but there's an element of like you have to convince yourself of things that are not necessarily true sometimes. They may not be true in the moment, but they have the potential to be true. And if you operate as if they are true, then sometimes that's the easiest way to manifest them.